Welcome to the Voice of Retail. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc. This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. There's no question that employee engagement, education, encouragement, and team building within the retail industry are more critical now than ever before. In this episode, we meet Jenny Posthumus, Director, Employee Experience, Fire & Flower. Jenny tells us about leveraging her 5 years in the cannabis space into 25 years of practical communication and employee engagement. We discuss the unique challenges and opportunities of finding, keeping, and growing your frontline retail workforce into a decisive, sustainable competitive advantage with crucial tools that make a real difference.
Well, I was incredibly excited when I joined Fire & Flower and discovered Nudge. It's an amazing platform, and it serves as a great platform to have some fun, celebrate achievements, recognize employees, and share just very important information. We leverage Nudge in a magnitude of ways. We would leverage it to provide mindfulness and wellness tips, share stories and experiences, release external information.
Jenny, welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's so great to talk to you. You and I have had the chance off mic to talk about a bunch of things like David Bowie and Stevie Ray Vaughan. So we're not going to talk about that today, but hey, that's fun stuff to talk about as well. So welcome.
Well, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to take part in this podcast and kind of share some of my knowledge and experience when it comes to the cannabis industry.
All right. Well, let's dive in. So tell us about yourself, your personal, professional journey, and what you do at Fire & Flower.
Well, my name is Jenny. As you mentioned, I'm a big fan of David Bowie. So that's just one note I'd like to throw in there. Born and raised in Bruce County. For anybody who doesn't know where that is, it's located on the shores of Lake Huron in southern Ontario. Absolutely beautiful place. A little unbearable in the winter, but most of Canada is. I'm a proud mother of two wonderful children, 11 and 9, boy and girl, and partner to my better half, Brent. We've been together for over 20 years. He's kind of my rock. Personally, I've been in the cannabis industry for over 5 years now, but please keep in mind, everyone, each year in cannabis is worth 5. So now I have about 25 years under my belt. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I found myself gravitating to cannabis because of the excitement surrounding a new industry, the time to make my mark, and, just something I truly believed in. And I got to help build the building blocks of cannabis, I guess you would say. Right, yeah. So I started off in the LP world, working for a licensed producer. And in the past 5 months, I switched over to the retail side.
So you're over to the bright side now, the good side, as I like to call it. And your career has been really as a communicator. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, absolutely. I started off in corporate communications, which under my belt I held CSR initiatives, DE&I initiatives, and employee experience. And then that kind of evolved during my first 4 years into a training role and ensuring that our people had the proper materials and the tools to be successful. We were in our infancy, if you look back at 2018 pre-legalization, and now we're starting to evolve. We're not babies anymore. We're toddlers, and we're learning to walk in this brand new industry.
With all the great things that come with it and the challenges as well, right? So, and what's your role at, you just joined Fire & Flower, I think, this calendar year. What's your role there?
So my title with Fire & Flower is Director of Employee Experience and Internal Communications. I was given the opportunity at Fire & Flower to combine my two passions and help guide an amazing team in their next steps.
Excellent. Well, we're going to get into more about what that means and the tools you use a bit later. But for those who, you're not the first executive I've had on from Fire & Flower, but maybe for those who, international audience, or maybe they hadn't heard prior interviews, tell us a little bit about Fire & Flower, the scope and scale, what you do, and how many people you employ, and how many stores. Just give us a bit of 411 on the business.
The most important thing is to remember is that Fire & Flower is not just a retailer, but we're also a technology company. We have so many facets of the business that make us successful and unique. And it's really the collective efforts and the contributions of our amazing team members and our diverse workforce that truly creates the organization that we have today. When it comes to scale, we have over 1,000 employees located across North America. The majority of our teams are based in Canada and located in one of our over 100 corporately owned stores. And through our stores, that includes the brands Friendly Stranger, Hotbox, and Happy Days. And we just really pride ourselves on the guest experience. It's our teams in our shop who deliver that. And, under the umbrella, as I mentioned, technology, we also have our technology arm, Hi-Fire. And we most recently acquired, really exciting news, Pineapple Express Delivery.
Oh, and that's been and this isn't really a podcast about the corporate structure. I really want to get into the employee stuff, but Fire and Flower has been growing both organically and by acquisition, as you mentioned, the classic Friendly Stranger, and I think you did some acquisitions lately this week, which has been a bit of a characteristic of the business, right? A lot of startups, and then a bit of consolidation and a bit of growth, and then you're able to leverage platforms. As you said, you got a great loyalty program and all that technology, right? Is that a fair description of where the industry's at right now, or certainly where Fire and Flower is at right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi-Fire, it plays a major role within our business, just helping us advance and gather the data and analytics needed in the Spark program. As you mentioned, our loyalty and rewards program, it provides us with this unprecedented view and detailed understanding of our consumer behaviors and preferences, which is directly fed back to our employees. And that's how they can deliver such a wonderful customer experience through the understanding of consumer trends and what's going on within the industry.
It's always been the case that it's the classic case in retail that employees matter. It always seemed to me that they mattered a lot in the retail cannabis sector, particularly at the beginning. So much was changing, and it was a whole new industry and all that stuff. So, as you think about the role of employees, and you kind of, if you're talking to a prospective employee or you're describing the role of the employees at Fire and Flower, talk about how you describe that and what their role is in ensuring there's a great customer experience. Then we'll kind of unpack the tools you use to make sure that they're great at their job.
It's all about the understanding of the industry with thousands of options and different products and a continuous stream of new products releases. We really have to arm them with an understanding of the variety of products that are out there. And that's by working through our LP partners and really using the right tools and tactics to cascade that information and always thinking out of the box and always advancing. We really want to ensure that our employees, our frontline retailers have the tools to succeed. And that begins with knowledge and communication. So we really leverage our customer-centric approach and our competitive advantage through innovation, communication, training, education, and best-in-class technologies to really create that first-class retail experience.
And so when you describe customer-centric, like when you're sitting around the campfire in a nice day, which, we're going to have soon, in a nice warm day, how do you describe what that means to people who aren't in the industry or people who aren't into retail? How does it feel? How does it feel to walk in to one of your locations that makes it stand out, that makes it different? Walk that experience for me through.
Absolutely. So I think it kind of all comes down to our sales model. We want to get to know the customer. We want to greet them. Every customer should be treated the same when they come in. Make sure you greet them positively. What are their wants? What are they looking for? Do suggestive selling. Make sure that all of our stores are quite similar when you go from store to store across the country, that we have the proper products in place, and we have knowledgeable canistas, as we like to call them, armed with the proper materials so that they can give informed information to each customer that walks through the doors. There's a lot of stigma around cannabis, which I know you're aware of, and we really want to break down that stigma. Mm-hmm. We want to provide open and honest communication with our customers. And we want to provide them great products that suit their needs. And that's just having an understanding of the abundance of products that are out there.
In addition to the stigma, which I think is starting to dissipate, but that's not going to happen overnight. Great work from great retailers like yourself is so helpful in doing that. But, as you think about, the rules, because it's not like an ordinary retail environment, right? There's parameters around which employees can interact and what they can say and what they cannot say by the rules. So how do you manage through that? I guess that's a lot of education and ensuring that you I guess overcome, not go around, but overcome and still have a very positive experience within the parameters of doing it both safely and within the rules, right?
As the regulations continuously change, and it's just us having the utmost respect for our regulators, having a firm understanding and sharing that information with our teams to ensure that we're compliant and following the regulations set forward to us. We're very lucky to have our pot guide partners who help us with a lot of the work. In regards to regulations, you can actually visit the Pot Guide website and see the most up-to-date regulations by province in Canada. So, it's, as I mentioned again, it's all that collaboration and working together that we create that understanding. It's a never-ending job, that's for sure, Mike, and something that we always have to stay ahead of. But that's why I'm such a firm believer in, continuous education and growth.
Well, it's consistent with the vibe of cannabis, right? I mean, that's been the secret sauce for what I've seen as success is there's a whole vibe to the culture and the community, and how do you have a professional selling floor put on top of that without, disrupting or destroying the vibe of what makes cannabis great as a community, right? So it sounds like that's what you're working through. Let's talk about when you're hiring folks. So, everybody's looking to hire people. You've got, you're growing, which means you're always hiring. Talk about the business, how you hire, and how your strategy, your engagement strategy plays a role in finding the right people and then kind of bringing them on board and getting them up to your standards.
I guess it really, starts at the basics. Employer branding, the story of Fire and Flower, and how we represent ourselves externally. It's a unique day and age. Employees are really looking for those opportunities to grow and be a part of something. We try to attract talent through job postings and advertisements, but we've also found that online hiring blitzes prove as an effective manner. And now we're at the stage where we can start hosting these in-store job fairs, which really allows us to obtain fantastic team members. We all work together really to build this team, and I'm a firm believer that the first point of context that sets the stage for the partnership with our team members, and we have great leaders who support that vision. We have great recruiters throughout the organization, and we're really building a strong people and culture department to support everyone throughout the network of Fire and Flower. I'd like to, when it comes to kind of retaining those employees, it's really all about engagement and the opportunity for growth. I was going to say it again, continuous education plays a major role. And that's where we have a cohesive training curriculum that comes into play. And it's always an ongoing practice, making sure we understand our workforce, their passions, their beliefs, their values. It's of the utmost importance to us, really.
Yeah, right on. Now, where are you finding your people? I was in one of your locations and I was talking to the manager and I said, you're one of the only stores I don't see a help wanted sign on. And we kind of had a bit of a chuckle at that because that conversation was, and this was, I don't know, maybe 8-9 months ago, was that you were finding success with folks who are leaving the restaurant or food service industry. Is there one industry where you tend to attract people? I mean, people who come over from food service tend to be, in my mind, they're very service oriented and I think culturally aligned. Am I overstating that? Is that where you have some success with, or are you successful across the board?
I would say, we pride ourselves on the diversity of our workforce. Our workforce is about as diverse as the products that we offer.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So from all walks of life, from all areas, but kind of with all with one common purpose, is that we want to deliver cannabis to the world.
Right on. Have you ever thought about, you talked about the amount of products that are coming through. I mean, we had a couple of big tranches, right? When we had the tranche of edibles and the 2.0 products were fun. The edibles and the beverages and hash. And have you ever thought that maybe we should slow the roll down of new products, or are new products essential to success and keeping it interesting? I mean, at some point, there's too many products to overwhelm too much knowledge, and we're going to talk about how you deal with that. But are you comfortable with the amount of products that come through, and that the associates have time to soak time, so to speak, to absorb it? What do you think?
Well, because cannabis is so unique, Mike. Variety is the spice of life for cannabis enthusiasts. I like my Oreos, the same Oreos every time. But when it comes to my cannabis and cannabis enthusiasts, they enjoy variety. They want to know what's new. Different potency levels for different times, different terpenes for different times.
Sure.
I do believe, there's a lot. There are very many products out there, thousands and thousands, and some will stand the test of time. Some will be those true blues, but there's always has to be new drops, especially when it comes to flower. Yeah,
right on. I guess I was describing it like a wine store, right? Like you always go back, but you're always looking for that new wine. And terpenes are like that, right? They add just texture and flavor and difference to the product. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. I have always related the cannabis industry to wine, actually, and I'm actually glad that you brought that up. There's different wines for different days. There's different price points. There's wine for different celebrations, just like there is cannabis. When I personally go to pick out a bottle of wine, I like to go to the retailer that's working in that LCBO and ask for their suggestions. Say, "Oh, I'm making this for dinner tonight, and I'm having a couple friends over. What would you suggest?"
Yeah,
and then that's where that suggestive selling comes into play, specifically at the retail level in cannabis too, and that's where that understanding of your products comes into play.
So important. All right, let's talk. I mean, this is a lot for you. It's a lot for the employees. Let's talk about the tools you use. So we're here to talk about, let's talk about Nudge specifically. So it's a great Canadian company. I know bunch of folks there, and they're making great strides in employee communication engagement. Talk about how you use a tool like Nudge to achieve what you're trying to achieve in the business.
Well, I was incredibly excited when I joined Fire and Flower and discovered Nudge. It's an amazing platform, and it serves as a great platform to have some fun, celebrate achievements, recognize employees, and share just very important information. We leverage Nudge in a magnitude of ways. We would leverage it to provide mindfulness and wellness tips, share stories and experiences, release external information and press releases. It really serves as a community for our team spread out across the country. And we've just created something really unique. I'm going to brag a little bit here. They have this amazing feature. It's called the Cheers feature, and it allows for us to celebrate our colleagues and provide them with a little recognition. And it's a peer-to-peer option that's available as well. But from January 1st to April 1st, 2022, over 2,000 badges were sent amongst our colleagues. And they're just little pins that land as a message in your inbox and kind of celebrate you in different ways. And our top cheers pin was the gratitude pin, followed by high fives between our peers. And this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see our employees supporting each other, leaning on each other, saying thank you for providing me with that information. It's absolutely a fantastic tool. And it allows us to provide bite-sized communications and encourage employees to learn about and potentially try products and provide feedback in turn, which helps our customer improves the overall guest experience. We've also started launching, we do some crowdsourcing and surveys after we do some PK knowledge, and we run some contests, and that allows us to accelerate the knowledge sharing, engagement, and understanding of our business. And of course, soliciting feedback from our employees directly helps in-house product development and improves promotional approach to our licensed producers and vendors.
And so the employee experience, this is on their mobile phones, just a little practical stuff, so the listeners kind of get a sense of what the tool is.
Absolutely. It's like a social media network for our teams. You download the app to your phone. You can post on a daily basis. You can reply through open text responses. You can take part in surveys. You can take part in Spark sessions. We're coming into the month of May. Our focus is on health and safety. So we kicked off today as we look to jump into May next week as what does safety mean to you and how is it important? And, we have over 30 responses. And we just launched that yesterday. So it's really exciting. And then we can really take the feedback from our employees and put it into play. I think that's the most important thing, is always listening to your employees on how you can improve.
Right on. So it's a BYOD, bring your own device
You got
thing. Since we're talking about wine and whatever, and it's a closed environment. In other words, when they log on to the Fire and Flower version of Nudge, right? So it's not a broad community; it's a Fire and Flower community, right? So
it's our Fire and Flower internal community.
Right on. And listen, you and I both know technology doesn't create community or culture.
Traditional communications, sometimes they get bottlenecked and don't get cascaded completely to the ground. This allows me and my team to have direct contact with the front lines. Ensuring that they're just as up to date as everybody else within the business is incredibly important. As I said, like, we're dealing with kind of new demographics now, and we're craving a little bit more in the workplace. We want to be part of something big. We want to know what we're doing and look at the opportunities ahead of us. I think now more than ever, employees want to know the big picture. And that's what we really help support to provide through Nudge and other communication tools.
Well, let's tap into your 25 years of experience in the retail cannabis space, which I know it feels like 25. Let's talk about, advice to the retailers listening. I mean, from what as I think about what you're saying, this idea of the people that you hire and their engagement, that there needs to be a broader purpose. But, think about, 2 starts and 1 stop in terms of your advice to people who do what you do for a living that are listening around creating an amazing engagement and an amazing employee experience. So 2 things they should probably start doing, and 1 thing they should probably not do anymore or think about doing less. Okay,
excellent. Well, I might throw 3 in the first category. But I'm trying to play by the rules. Yeah, bonus.
Yeah, we're retailers. It's okay. We're retailers. We do bonus things, right? It's a DWP.
Absolutely. When it comes to employees in this rapidly expanding industry, it's a continuous evolution. If I can give any advice, it would be continue to grow and develop your people, find the right tools and tactics, and constantly communicate. And if it comes to a stop measure, stop assuming the old strategies work and always challenge the status quo.
Right on. All right. Well, listen, so there may be some people listening that might want to learn more about going to work for Fire and Flower, or maybe learn more about what you're doing. Where should they go to learn more?
Absolutely. So if you log onto the Fire and Flower website, we have a careers portal. You can reach out to employee experience at fireandflower.com. We always want to find the best candidates. Great people make a great company, and that's exactly what we're looking for. The future is bright for us over here at Fire and Flower, and we have all the right pieces to grow and strengthen our position in this industry while providing the best experience possible for our team members and our customers.
What's the best way to get a hold of you? Are you a LinkedIn person? If they want to, maybe one of your colleagues.
You can absolutely find me on LinkedIn. And so it's Jenny Posthumus.
Jenny, it's been a real treat talking to you. I mean, you've got such an experience. You're just so passionate about what you do. So it's a real treat to be on the mic with you. And I wish you much continued success and success to Fire and Flower as the industry continues to evolve. But for now, thanks so much for being on the Voice of Retail podcast. And I wish you a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much, and happy Friday, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning into this special episode of The Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, be sure and click and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically twice a week. And check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast, Conversations with Commerce Next podcast, and the Food Professor podcast with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois. Last but not least, if you're into barbecue, check out my all-new YouTube barbecue show, Last Request Barbecue, with new episodes each and every week. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc, president of M.E. LeBlanc Company and Maven Media. And if you're looking for more content or want to chat, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at meleblanc.co. Have a safe week, everyone.